Today on the Project Mbappe podcast, we are joined by one of the best ever players England has produced, Paul Merson. Thank you for joining us, Paul. The purpose of this podcast is to try to discover if there's a formula to creating a footballer, how much is down to nature and how much is down to nurture. Would you say you were born a footballer, Paul?
Good question. Parts of me, I would say I was born with it. I think, I think as I went on in my career, there was things that wasn't taught to me that I could see. I could see pictures, I had vision. Maybe looking back now, was I given them pictures in early years and then, as the game went on? I think there's a little bit. I think otherwise, if there wasn't, I think we'd all be the same. And I'm not putting myself up here, but when you see these top players, they have that X factor. They got that something special. You look at, I played with the best player I ever played with in Dennis Bergkamp.
Right.
He had something that you had to be born with it. You had to be. It's just because I hadn't seen anybody else have it. I hadn't seen anybody play, and do the things he done. So for me, I think it's half and half. But in between that, I still think it comes down to hard work. If you don't work hard, I don't care how talented you are as a footballer, you will not make it as a footballer if you don't work hard.
Well, can you tell us a bit about how you made it?
Cool. Yeah. I was playing for Brent. I lived in Holsden. I was born in Holsden, so I played for Brent. So I was playing under nines. When I was 9. I was playing under 11s for the district. So I was decent. I was a centre forward, but very small and skinny at the time. And so
that was when you started playing football?
Oh no, 2.
You were playing 2?
Yeah, I mean, my dad. I got pictures of me on the beach in a nappy kicking balls. Yeah, like constantly. I got one now with Freddie on the beach kicking a ball too. It was always playing football.
Okay.
My dad would always take me to the park, play football in the evenings. Nothing special, not like I see now.
Yeah.
Not like, some of the skills they do now, the kids. It was just playing football. And then when I was old enough, in them days when I was 7, 8, on a Saturday morning, my mum would give us a packed lunch and me and some kids would go down the park and play down the park, and we'd have to be back before it got dark. That when I was at that age, you could do that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't let my kids to the end of the street now without me being there. But that's what it was like. It was park football. It was park football. It was anything goes. You tried anything. And I played for a good Sunday morning team, a dominant Sunday morning team that, in the end, if I'm being honest, got a bit fed up.
Okay.
Fed up. I think sometimes when it become too easy, I went and played for a team that weren't very good to see how I would learn when I'm not winning football matches all the time. Because sometimes you can get into a lull, it becomes comfortable. I always say to you when we're playing, I get more interested when we're winning 10-0, who's going to make the good habits, who's going to start trying to do things that they wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
So, and then I moved, and I had a bad injury, but I signed for Watford. Which was a good academy, not academy, we used to train Mondays and Thursdays over at Garston, and I loved it. I loved it at Watford.
What age was that?
That was 12 till 14.
Right.
Absolutely loved it at Watford. Loved it. I mean, other clubs were after me at the time. QPR went to once. I think Chelsea come to me, but I think it was Chelsea or QPR. My dad said he don't run around enough.
Okay.
Yeah. So which was understandable. I wasn't one of them physical players. I was quite technical, and I was sharp. And then at 14, Arsenal coming for me. My dad was a massive Arsenal fan. He wanted me to sign for Arsenal, and I didn't want to sign for Arsenal. I honestly, I didn't. I didn't think I was that good. I was very shy and lacked in confidence at the time. I thought, no way am I good enough to play for Arsenal. And I grew up a massive Chelsea fan when I was a kid. So I signed because of my dad. I remember the man coming round like it was yesterday, Bill Graves, his name was, to sign schoolboy forms at 14. And I remember running upstairs when I signed, crying my eyes out.
Really?
Just didn't want to sign. I was comfortable at Watford.
Yeah.
And my dad said, sign for Arsenal. Looking back now, best thing I ever did. But at the time, maybe I was being safe. Maybe, you know, that was me being a shy kid who didn't like change, didn't like separation at the time. And maybe being safe, like I call it Chris Tavare, you know, like safe, good cricketer, but, you know, safe, not going to be hitting sixes all over the shop. I think that's what changed it. And then I signed for Arsenal at 14. I used to train behind the goal at the clock end on a Mondays and a Thursday. So my dad had to take me Monday, Thursday, which was a journey. We lived in Norfolk at the time, all the way over to a Highbury and back again, getting back at like 8, 9 o'clock in the evening. Come Saturday, never played. We used to go over to Walthamstow, over that way. Every Saturday I'd be sub.
Really?
Every Saturday. And then I was talking to my dad about it the other day, and he said to the manager once, why is Paul not playing? We're coming over here all the time and he's not playing. He said, I'm not worried about him. He said, I'm not worried about him. I'm looking at the other players. And I used to get 15 minutes. But I say that, but when it come down to the nitty gritty, at the end, I never got an apprenticeship. I got a youth training scheme. Like, I didn't get one of the apprenticeships. I got a youth training scheme. Donnell said to me, he said, if you don't get any bigger in the next year, you'll never make it as a footballer. That's how small I was. And
this, what age was this?
That was at 16 when I left school. Yeah. He said, if you don't get any bigger I was really small and skinny, like very lightweight, but very lively. I was quick and I could score a goal. But then I just shot up. But I never played for the youth team for a whole year. I was sub every week. I used to come home and go to my dad, do I have to do this?
Wow.
Do I have to do it? You know, I'm not playing. I'm training Monday to Friday and I'm not playing football. He said, just keep on sticking it. Just stick it. You know, keep on sticking it. And then, you know how it worked? It was a lucky break. I was training with the youth team or the reserves at the time. I wasn't really playing. And there was a six-a-side tournament called the Guinness Six-a-side in Manchester. It was a one-off, never done it again. And a team dropped out and they wanted a team. And they said, will Arsenal send a team? And they sent up like the reserves and me. And I just had one. It was on the telly. In them days, there was no live football, so it was anything was on telly. Everybody watched if it was football. And it was on at 10:30 on a Tuesday and Wednesday night, and I was like very good. But it was weird how it worked. When I weren't playing for the youth team, the first team manager would say, "I need a few players to come over," and I was better with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the players started to love me. They would go, "Oh my God, he's a player. He can play." And I was more comfortable. And then that was it. I went on loan to Brentford. Best thing ever happened.
Right.
Because you're at Arsenal. It's the creme de la creme. Everything's done for you. You know.
Yeah.
You don't even have a passport. You know. You go to the airport. Everything's done. And then I went to Brentford. It was like a man's league. It was like seeing the league table, playing in front of fans, people kicking you. You know, and seeing the real. Coming away from Arsenal and training at Brentford, where it was clean your own kit, bring your own kit, and I think that was a massive thing for me as well. But it wasn't easy. I wasn't like one of them kids that you look at and go, he's a sure thing,
right?
He's the biggest ever. There was players at Arsenal that I was so far behind that I thought that would definitely make it that never made it, which shocked me. But
why do you think it happened where? You know, you were able to obviously progress in some of those.
I think the X Factor, I think that's something different.
Yeah.
I think that something different, something that I could see a pass. I mean, if people said to me, what was your game? I had a good brain. I was intelligent. In them days, you know, we'd play two up front, so you had to bend your runs and things like, you know, I'd very rarely run offside. I wasn't one of them players that, you know, I'd get frustrated if I run offside, you know, especially if I was out wide, I drifted out wide and someone put me in and I was offside, I would beat myself up. I'd think, how can you be offside looking along the line? Something like that would affect me. It drives me up the wall today in football when someone gets caught offside like that.
And in terms of hard work, did you feel like you worked harder than most, or you had that, you know, that burning desire more than the others?
Looking back, talking just then, you know, before that, I didn't think I was one of them. But when I look back now, you're not playing every week. Something's in you that I learned all I love football. That's all I know is football. My big regret would be not doing well at school. 100%, I think is a major thing for kids. I was dyslexic, so and really I put all my eggs into football. So that was a massive regret. Every kid out there, I would say, work hard at school. You work hard. There's enough time to work hard at school and then work hard at playing football. You don't have to do one or the other. I don't think it's make sure you get 15 O levels and then play football too late. But you can balance it. I think that's most important thing I would get across for kids.
Yeah. When you talk about the X factor, like I'd like to bring it right back to like the days playing football with your dad on the beach. Do you think anything was sparked there or anything developed in those days? Like maybe between ages, like even when you were playing at a park with your mates?
Yeah, I was always playing with years above. I was always playing 2 years above whatever I'd done. I'm probably not giving myself enough credit that I was decent, because if you're playing for your district 2 years above, that's some going. Do you know what I mean? So being small and skinny at the time, you always had to be alive. I always had to be bright. So I always had to look around. That might have been where it come from. I can't be standing. If someone's standing next to me who's big, they're just going to smash me. So I had good awareness around me. And always have. I think that's carried on in time. I think, I use it as cricketers. You watch a top cricketer come into bat, they ask for middle stump or middle and leg, and then they look around. And then they have a shot. And then after that shot, they look around again. Their awareness. Towel ender comes in at number 11. He asks for middle and leg. He goes like that, hits the ball. The next ball comes in, it bounces and he smashes it to long on. He gets caught, and it's like, he wasn't there last time. You have to be aware. I think that's the one thing I had. I had pictures. I always scanning a football pitch. When the ball went out for a throw, and I'd know what I was doing before I got the ball. Every time I got the ball, I've never got stuck. I never thought, what am I going to do now? Head down. I knew what I was going to do.
But you couldn't pinpoint how that was developed.
No, and that's why I think it's like, I think something like that is God given. Sometimes okay. I do. I think it's something that you were born with. I personally think so. I watch players now. I watch youngsters. I look for people who drift into space and find space. I look for that. I look for something that's different. I look for things that are different in players. I just do that. It's about awareness. It's about getting your head up. It's about looking. Like we have a debate all the time, me and you, don't we? Is it beat 6 players and then lose it to the 7th player? That's the player. I don't see that. I know at the end of the day, if you want to be a footballer, there's certain things you have to do. It's changed the game now. It's changed. It has changed. It's completely enough. I know there's 2 goals at each end and you've got to put the ball in the back of the net. That's the name of the game. But what these kids are getting now is amazing. I mean, I never got that. Yeah. Well, let's come on to this with, you've had, other children that have been involved in football, but your youngest son, Freddie, in the last 10 months, he's got involved in academy football. How has that been for you? Very good. It's in a way like a bit thing, because one of my other boys, Sam, was a good player.
Yeah.
He was a good player, but me and his mum got divorced and I moved away to go and play at Aston Villa. So he didn't get that travel. If you haven't got your parents around, I don't know how you can. It's difficult to make it. I mean, it goes under the radar. The mums and dads sitting at the training, taking them here, there, and everywhere. If it wasn't for my dad, I wouldn't have been a footballer. It's as simple as that. For all the talent I had, if I don't get to that training session, how do you become a footballer? You can't just sit at home and then at 16 years of age go, I'm ready now. It's a lot of hard work, a lot of hours, even when there was no academies. So with Sam, I think Sam had a chance of making it. I watch him now and he's a good footballer. But with Freddie, if I'd have sat down here with you 2 years ago, and you'd have said to me, "Oh, when Freddie gets to 6, get into academies," I'd have said no chance, no way. Just play out the park, play with your mates, express yourself, and go from here.
Oh, because you didn't believe in academy football?
I just thought at that age. I thought, what for? 6.
All right.
But now Freddie's been, and Freddie's, he's trained at Chelsea, Arsenal, and Fulham. I just don't know how you would make it if you haven't gone to academies. You would have to be extraordinary at the highest level to do. If you went through now and become a professional footballer without being an academy, if you found someone at 12 now to go on and become a professional footballer, it'd be a 1 in a million. A 1 in a million. I think. Is it true about Saka at Arsenal? Was he just found late on, or was he at Arsenal?
I'm not quite sure.
I think Kate's mum was telling me. I think that they found him just playing like for someone, then went on. But that was at like 12. I think that would be extraordinary.
Yeah, there are late developers that come into it.
Yeah.
I don't think it's quite as, I wouldn't say like 1 in a million, but it's a lot harder.
It's 1 in a million.
It's a lot harder.
Sean, it's virtually near on 1 in a million to be a footballer.
Oh, true.
Do you know what I mean? If you're getting them at 12, that's a lot of work. That's a lot of hours. I mean, if that player comes through at 12, I would say they are naturally gifted footballer, because the work that you would have missed out on at academy football would be mind blowing. Even at Freddie at 6 now, the hours and the training that they're getting is. I just look at it as like building a house. At 6 years of age, an hour and a half there, hour and a half at Chelsea, hour and a half at Fulham, hour and a half at Arsenal, week in, week out. You're laying cement down. You can't build a house on a swamp. And even at that age, that the concrete's going down. It's what kids absorb it. I say to our kids when we're like on a Sunday, you have to. I look for people who listen. When I played for Arsenal, when I got in the first team, if you were told more than once you're never playing again, you don't play. But the one thing I struggled with at Walsall when I became the manager at Walsall was a coach called Mick Halsall, who was a very good coach. He's the youth team coach there, and we chatted when I got the job, and he said, "Oh, good luck, Paul." And all. He said, "All you got to do is just keep on telling them. I went, "What?" He went, "You got to keep on telling them." I went, "Just tell someone once. Tell them once." He went, "Not here. Not down here, you don't. Up here you do. Down here you don't." And that's the difference. People listen, people take it in, people absorb it, and then the players that fizzle down and play in the lower leagues have to be told 3, 4, 5 times. And I think that is at a young age. Even when I was like, can remember playing football, whoever talked to me, I always listened. My eyes would never go there or there. I would always soak information up, always. And I love football. I think if you love football, you've got much more chance of making it as a footballer than someone who doesn't really love it, but they're playing football. Because in the end, that will fizzle out and they won't play. They'll get fed up with it and they will lose interest.
Yeah. I think as soon as they come to some sort of adversity, then they'll just
cool, yeah. Or it gets hard or something like that, and then they'll go, you have to love it. I mean,
do you think Freddie loves it?
I loves football. Loves football. At the moment, he's getting that balance with the schoolwork. I see him in me. It's football.
Oh.
And Kate's a school teacher, so it's like, right, he has to do this hour, and then he can play football, because he would play football every minute of the day. He's like, straight away in the mornings, he's football mad. He's like, yeah, he loves it, and that's what I like. He loves football, but he learns, like, he'll watch it. He'll watch the football. He'll sit down and watch it. He'll watch the goals. Like I do stuff like he's got a Subbuteo pitch, like was put on a board for Christmas. So I will put little figures down on the board, and he'll be with me, and I'll give him pictures in his head on a football pitch. Like, so I'll say, like, if it's 5v5 we play, like, this is how Coach Sean sets up. If the ball's here, where would you be? So get pictures.
Okay, so on that, so let's bring it back to because earlier on you said that vision is God-given, but if there's a parent who is able to give their child that information and plant those ideas in their head at 6 years old, but there's another parent who's not doing that with their child, would you say that Freddie's at an advantage?
I would say so, 100%. I think football's down to pictures. It's down to pictures. It's the pictures you see. You know, you watch these top teams play. They all have pictures in. You know, you watch Chelsea play. You watch Man City play. You watch Liverpool play. They have pictures in their head. They know what they're doing. The ball comes in, they flick it around the corner, and they go again. You know, and they might set it up and show a pattern, but then they have to see it. You know, it's all right me going to Freddie, right, so when the ball's over here, but when it comes to Sunday, if he doesn't see it, he hasn't seen the picture.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's like the other day I was with him and, you know, they're playing 2v2s and he was going to go on an overlap. Do you know what I mean? He said, we've done this with Coach Sean, and I'll go on an overlap. But it didn't develop, so he didn't do it. Which,
okay.
See, then I see it. I say he sees the picture.
Yeah.
Because naturally, someone will go, "I'm just going to do that," and it's not on to do, and then it's not a picture. But yeah, I always they're things I do, or I'll stop the game on a football match and I'll go, "What do you reckon was good there, or what do you reckon wasn't?" Not constantly, so it blows his mind, but it's just to see pictures.
So maybe at a young age, your dad did that with you, and maybe that's how it developed. You know, you seeing the pictures.
Yeah. He might have done that. I mean, in them days, you know, we only had the big match on. You know what I mean? You couldn't stop it. If the goal went in, that was it.
Even in the park, you know, just questions he might ask you. Oh, what would you do? Do you know what I mean? And it just ticks your brain, and then
you might be right, which constantly without even knowing. Do you know what I mean?
And then you'll do it on the Sunday, and then it's like, oh, okay. Now you're seeing it how it is in real time.
Yeah,
and then it just progresses from there.
Yeah, 100%. But I think when it gets to Saturday, you have to see that pass. Yep. You have to see the picture. You can get given pictures, but then you have to see the picture. I mean, but when I played, it was my game was I had to be around good players. You had to be around good players. It makes a difference. Yeah, 100%. You know, it makes a difference.
Has your opinion on academy football changed then since you've been involved in it?
Oh, upside down. Okay. Yeah, completely and utterly. I think it's so important. I really do. 2 years ago, I would call myself naive,
right?
But old school.
Yeah,
I would call myself old school. But since last year and onwards now, I think it's essential.
Like in terms of what the academies are looking for, though, as well.
I don't know about that.
All right.
I don't know about that. Time will tell on that. I don't know. I think in time will tell that in 10 years' time, I'll understand a little bit more. Do you know what I mean? I know what you need to be a footballer at 17, 18.
Yeah.
But it's different now with the groundwork, what you've got to put in. I think the training is immense. I watched some of the under 7s training with Freddie's sessions with some under 8s in there. If I was manager if I was at Arsenal and I was in the first team and we were doing them sessions, I don't personally think you'd come off the training pitch moaning, saying what we're doing here. You know, that was what it was all about. You know, 2v2s, 1v1s. You know, it's all about getting your head down, getting people's head down and making them get their head up to. You know, because at the end of the day, if you don't get your head up, I don't care who you are. You ain't becoming a footballer, in my opinion. I just don't. So it's a balance. I think if you can get a player like I know that a podcast is called Mbappe. If you can get a player like him, then you got the pitch. You got the player.
Yeah,
I do, because I watched him yesterday. He does foot overs with his head up. You know, he does. You know, I see kids at the moment that have to do them. All these skills with their heads down. That's what I don't get. There's a lot of skills at the moment with the kids, but a lot of the skills with their heads down. I see a session once with a club with Arsenal, and they were going up the pitch and they were doing their skills, but the man was holding colours up and they had to tell the colour, and I thought that was good. because they're trying to do the skill, but at the same time they've got to get their head up at the same time, which I found interesting. But it depends what you're looking for. It's hard to go and bring 15 kids through and make a team. You know, I mean, everybody would like that, to go, right, you know, why don't you get 12 players together now at 16, at 6 years of age, and then in 12 years' time, if they play together for 6 years, they'll be the best team you've ever seen. But it don't work like that. Yeah. I know that. Do you know what I mean? I know that. You know, certain players get better, certain players will drop off. And it's the players, when they're dropping off, do they come again? Or do they get disinterested? And that's why I always think you have to love football. You know, you have to love it. You don't do it for someone else. You know, don't do it for your mum or dad, because it won't happen. It will never happen.
And since Sean has encouraged you to take, you know, Coach Freddie's team, how have you found that, and what are some of the differences from now, from when you played Grassroots?
Very interesting. You know, I would say learning off Sean. You know, some of the patterns or the way they start off the game and how he does it, and getting it off the goalie, the way they spread, and then they play. I mean, my boy, he went and played in a tournament last December for Sean, and he was like, I got a million miles off. I come home and I was like, to Kate, I was like,
really?
Yeah, I was like I was naive.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You just think, oh, I played, so he might be able to play.
But we always have this discussion where sometimes parents expect them to be good at that age straight away, and it doesn't work like that. You know, they need to put in the work and the hours, and with good coaching, and then very quickly you can see them, you know, progress. And
100%.
Yeah.
Fred, the one thing about our team is all of them have got something. If you put them all together, you'd have the best under 7 in the world of football. But that's probably the same in Germany, in Brazil, in Argentina. They've all got something good. They're all good at something. It's making sure you tidy up on the other stuff.
Yeah.
So just to give some context for some of our listeners who aren't aware of what we've done. So where Freddie's got into football, and he got involved with our coaching company, and we formed a little under-7s team.
Yeah.
Just as we came out of the lockdown, and I said to you, would you be the coach and we'll do it together? And so it's been amazing, hasn't it?
It has been absolutely, to see the improvement since March to now. I mean, the biggest compliment you can say is when we play against teams, they go, how long you been together?
Yeah.
And you go, about 5 months. I mean, and they're like, but it's hard. It's been hard work for the kids. Not for us. I think it's been very enjoyable.
Yeah.
But for the kids, they've had to work hard. I mean, the sessions that are put on, then they're not laughy jokey. It's not like at the academy as well. It's intense.
Yeah.
It's very intense. What I like about the kids, and I love it about the kids, is the kids don't see it. The kids just get on and play. I find the parents are the intense ones.
Yeah.
You know, I had a parent the other month at Arsenal, lovely bloke, and he went, "Oh, it's pressure, isn't it? It's pressure." I said, "What do you mean?" He went, "Well, look at all the coaches looking." I went, "Look at the kids." And he went, "What?" I said, "They don't see it, so don't worry. The kids don't see it." And that's where I think the kids are amazing, is they just go out and play. And I think that's fair play on the academies. I'm surprised they let them just go out and play. I think it's not like they try and make it as fun as they can, you know, and that's what I like. It's not stop, start, and you're under pressure and it's thing. I enjoy going. I sit there and I just watch, and I learn off the coaches. Do you know what I mean? Because it's different from when I played. I'm not gonna lie. You have to be a different kind of player today to be a footballer than what you did before. But sorry, Sean. That's now. In 10 years' time, the game's going to change again into something else. You know, it depends what top coach comes in at the time. You know, how long were we talking? 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. You know, it was like, how big's his mum and dad? you know, and then all of a sudden Pep Guardiola comes along with Messi, Iniesta and Xavi, and it's like, oh, you don't really have to be big anymore. You know, we've got the best players in the world and they're all tiny and they bang, bang, bang. And then all of a sudden, they sort of got caught up Barcelona and they weren't the best in the world anymore. And then we sort of went back to, you know, who's big and strong and quick. You know, I think the game now is quick, strong, physical, pass. I don't think it's pass. When I played, it was you had to pass the ball. If you couldn't pass the ball, you weren't going to be a top player. And then if you could get physical, if you were quick, wow. If you could pass the ball and were quick at the same time, you were amazing. I see now it's be quick and then if you can pass the ball. I look at Teddy Sheringham as one of the best players I've seen in my time. I just thought he was an amazing footballer, and Robert Perez weren't blessed with blistering pace. I look at them players who are top draw players. I put Perez in the top 5 players I've ever seen at Arsenal. How far would they get today? That's my question. How far would they get today? Because you know, people, you've got to be quick now. Like we used to put up a team sheet at Arsenal against a team, and you go turn slower than the QE2. I've seen Milk turn quicker than him. They're weak links. They're weak links in the team. Get at them, and you'll see a football match, and you'll just keep on pummeling that player. You look at Norwich now, who can't win a football match. You look at their team sheet. Quick. They can all run. The one thing they could all do, and I think that's sort of taken over. Will it be in 10 years' time? I don't know. It might go back to not that way, but I think the game changes all the time. Is it for better or worse? I don't know. I don't know. I'm waiting to see another Joe Cole. I ain't seen one for a while. I ain't seen one. When Joe Cole was, when Arsene Wenger come in at Arsenal, his first thing was, why is Joe Cole at West Ham?
Oh, he wanted to buy him.
They couldn't believe how he wasn't. Why is the most talented youngster in London not playing for the biggest club in London?
Well, you've talked about your understanding of academy football, how that's changed. What about grassroots football? What are your views on that?
No. Not what I've seen recently. No. I mean, not what I've seen with the kids. I feel like, and I'm not a know-it-all, but I learned a lot off you, and I do know my football is. I feel like you know what disappoints me more than anything? Out of everything, we've played 3 games recently, and we've won by silly scores because the kids have been good and they've had to put extra players. And
we're playing a year up.
And we're playing a year up. And we're playing a year up. And some teams are putting 7 players. The one thing that's disappointed me more than anything, and the kids' attitudes of the other teams have been outstanding. They've never give up, and I loved it. Not one manager's ever come over and said, "What'd you do?" Never chewed our ear rolls off. Never gone, "You got 10 minutes." Why are they like that? Why are they like that? What do you do different? You know, Pep Guardiola, you know, would have played Wickham last week, and Gareth Ainsworth would have gone into the dressing room, into his room after, and would have chewed his ear off. It would have been a priceless half hour to go, what do you do? What's different? What do you do that's different? And that's what it's like. There's no vision with the grassroots. It's like Sunday and that's it. And then we'll just move on to next Sunday. Just have a plan. Have a plan for these kids. Give the kids a chance. They can get better. I don't care who you are. Yep. The one bit of advice I've always given is the more you practice, you will never get worse.
Yeah.
Never get worse. And that's been my biggest disappointment so far.
And do you think the FA could do more to get involved?
Oh, 100%. 100%. You know, I was asked to go and do my coaching badges before when I was at Portsmouth, and I went up to the top to train on the AstroTurf, and it was like just so basic to start with. It was like, you know, pass the ball with your side foot, and I was like, I just went home. I just went, no, I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. You know, maybe I should have done my badges in the end. Maybe I should have, but I won't go into coaching. I'll help with the kids and I help with you, but I'm not going to go on and coach at a high level. You know, I'm not going to, all I can do is give my experience, you know, what I see. The hardest thing in the world is to be a footballer.
Okay.
I mean, I think parents need to understand this. It's the hardest thing in the world to be. It's harder to be a professional footballer than a brain surgeon. It's harder. You know, everybody wants to be a footballer. Not everybody wants to be a brain surgeon. You know, if you want to be a brain surgeon, you pick up a book and you study it and study it and study it. And if you do everything properly, you'll be a brain surgeon. You can work as hard as you can at football. That doesn't mean you're going to be a footballer. And that's why this is the hardest thing in the world to be. You know, and it starts now. And you at like 6, 7, it's like, it don't matter how great you are today. You're not even playing in the first team for another 12 years. 12 years. It's like, it's hard. It's hard. You know, when people have to leave school and then they go, oh, I've got to go college and university for 6 years to be a brain surgeon, or 7 or 8 years. Football starts here. You know, to be a brain surgeon, you don't start at 6, but to be a professional footballer, you've got to start at 6, or maybe even earlier. Maybe even earlier.
So I actually think, I mean, I know you've had that bad experience. That was probably quite a few years ago with the coaching badges. I think the FA have improved in recent years, but interacting with certain grassroots coaches over the past few months, what's your impression of what the FA are doing to help coaches?
You know, I don't want to talk out of line because the man ain't here, but we played a team the other week and it was like, oh, if it got to a bigger score and then we change to like put each other's teams together, or we stop the game and do a penalty shootout. That's too easy. That's what I don't like about it's like no scores are in the paper till they're like 15 or 12 or 11 or 10. You know, there's no league football till competition till start now. You know, Germany don't win World Cups because they're like, oh, nicey. Become a winner now. In my opinion, you be a winner. You do the right things and you work hard and you win football matches. You know, I'm not saying I'm not at 6. I'd rather, you know, I played in a tournament when you wasn't there the other week and I took the kids and we didn't win the tournament. But I was more pleased we didn't win it in the way we played. Everybody was coming over going, oh my God, your team's good. You know, we didn't win it because the silly, and I'm going to say silly people who were running it had a silly rule. It was as simple as that. It was like, it was the 3 winners and the best second in one team. But the other 2 groups, we'd have beat them 2 teams 25-0. I mean, it was like, but that didn't bother me. I like winning mentalities. I do like winning mentality. I like winners. I don't like giver-uppers. You know, I think that tells you a lot. I think when it comes down to when kids are losing, I like to see who's the kids who will keep on going and going. Because I think as soon as that becomes a habit. Like doing the right things. Like when I say to you when we're like 8-0 up, now this is when I watch the game. Like, who's going to keep on doing? I watched Mason Mount against San Marino about 4 months ago. San Marino was shocking. He'd done everything like he was playing against Brazil. Everything was bang, bang, got it forward, made runs, done everything normally. Other players were thinking, oh, I feel my boots here. We're playing San Marino, I'm going to get 5 goals. And they start trying to beat 3 and 4 players. It's hard to beat 3 and 4 players. I don't care what standard of footwear. If someone goes past 3 or 4 players, they got something. They got something. But then there's got to be an end product. It's all about an end product.
Going back to what you said about the grassroots, I think the argument is if you make it competitive too early on, then, you know, some coaches will play to win instead of enjoyment and the development side of their kids.
You're probably right there.
Yeah.
Marcello, you're probably right. I mean, I get a bit carried away there.
But you can have both. Why not have both? Where educate the coaches and
I think it's an easy option out for the coaches now. It's like if it's getting harder, we just change the teams around. Not like right, we got beaten out. Now I've got to take these kids away. What I've learned in my coaching badges, I've got to give that to the kids. But I don't see that at the moment when I'm watching these grassroots football. I don't see what they're doing with the kids. Do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, you're just telling them to go out and play. Oh, that's nice. but they're playing in a match. So give them a basis to play off. Don't, for how good our team is and for how good the players are, you give them a base to play off. If you didn't give them that at the start, I don't personally think they win the games because they'd be all over the place. They might get away with it because of their talent against certain players. But if they come up against another good team, their advantage is that they have a way of play. They have a foundation to play from, and then you go from there. And that's what with Grassroots, that's what I struggle with. But at the same time, you've got to understand as well. Like I said to Kate the other day, it was like, if Freddie don't get into academy, he might as well finish playing football. I'm not being horrible, but the standard, because he's had so many hours, the hours you get, like you said to me once before, I said about Freddie, and you went, but when he goes and plays at his school and everything, you'll see the difference. And he goes and trains on a Friday at school with Brentford, like owning the community with the kids at his school, and it's like, it's scary. But they're not interested. It's like a creche. It's like parents work till 4:30, so just drop the kids off. I feel sorry for the coaches. They're talking, the kids are watching aeroplanes go over.
That's it. A lot of the grassroots coaches out there are, just volunteers,
parents.
Yeah,
that's
do it.
That's what I like. Yeah, I mean the kids were, my little boy was training. My boy, if it weren't for Kate, I know Freddie would be a footballer because Kate got Freddie to We Make Footballers.
Oh, really?
He was at Hearts of Ted Lothian on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
And he was going there every Saturday. And then Kate went, "Oh, what about go We Make Footballers?" And I thought, I don't know, I thought, well, he's doing that on a Saturday morning, and then he'll play for them on Sundays, when the following year. And then we went there, and thank God to Esmond, who said to you, like, Freddie's not bad, that he got in. Do you know what I mean? Otherwise, who knows? He could have been still at Hearts of Ted Lothian, where I used to go every week and watch him, and it was parents, fair play to them, for doing it for nothing. Not once did anybody ever come over to me and go, "Do you want to join in? Do you want to do something?" And I sit there and I think, I'm thinking, why wouldn't I wouldn't go up to them and ask, because I think it's disrespectful. It's like out the way. But you'd have thought someone would have come. I used to sit there every Saturday morning, and you'd think one of them would come over and go, "Do you want to?" I don't think there's no pick the brains. There's no pick the brains.
Like I've got a lot of experience coaching, yet when we do it together, pretty much I just organise the players into the right positions and make sure they're taking the right turns as being goalkeepers or substitutes, and then I just let you, do the team talks and do everything else, because why wouldn't you? And that's me, who's got a lot of experience coaching.
Yeah, and then I think that's the thing. It's just knowing football. It's just, even if they come in and just go, what should we do anything different? Or, they never used to break the kids up. Like, I'd watch 2 training sessions and I go, right, them 7 are completely different to the rest. So put them 7 in a group and then put that group together and split the kids. You've got to split them up quickly, in my opinion. I think that's important for me. I think you get the kids, if there's 50 kids, after 3 sessions, I think then you start splitting the kids up into better players, next best players. I don't think start playing kids with the lesser players, I think, becomes bad habits. I think you got to, and then kids aim for that. That's the way.
But that's interesting how you said that potentially if Freddie hadn't come into our environment,
100%.
he wouldn't be on this path to becoming a footballer. So that kind of goes into the argument that there is a lot to do with nurture
and luck.
And luck, yeah. But it's showing how important that Freddie is on this path, and he's kind of being made into a footballer. There's certain ability that is obviously within him, and he's a great mover, but so much that you're feeding him, and this love for the game that he's fostering, and now being in great environments, now getting in the practice hours, it's all contributing to this success that he's having.
Oh, 100%. I will put it down to Kate, because I would have said, we might as well just keep him there. He's going to play in that team. He'll be the best player in that team at Hearts. And it was like Kate went, no, put him into. I've seen an advert for We Make Footballers, And he wasn't. I took him to We Make Footballers, and he wasn't the best player. I didn't sit there at We Make Footballers on a Monday night and go, "Oh, this is a waste of time. He's head and shoulders." He wasn't. So someone like Esmond, who's gone to you, Sean, and gone, "Oh, Freddie's not. Give Freddie a go. He might be all right." So looking at like Esmond's,
did you start to do 1-to-1s with Ez as well?
Yeah, I'd done 1-to-1s, but it wasn't like, even when he was doing the 1-to-1s, it wasn't like, I wasn't sitting there going, "Oh, wow." Do you know what I mean? But what he learned was listen, take it in. And with Freddie, he's got, over the last 6, 7, 8 months, he's got better and better every week. And I think that's the improvement. He's like, I went to a tournament when we went and you showed me the kids. You said, these are the kids that are just going to get signed on that pitch.
Yeah.
And then we moved over to because I met Asher then. He come over and we had a pitch and was having a chat. And then Freddie played in his one. And I went home and Kate went, "What do you think?" And I was like, "There's a kid there called Jude. Oh my God, you just couldn't catch your breath. He was kicking it both feet. He was beating every player and scoring. It was like unbelievable." That was in December. We're in September now. Him and Freddie probably about that far, maybe. And sometimes it's like that, and sometimes it might be the other way. That's how much Freddie's improved.
My question to you then, from when Freddie was playing at Hearts to now, what have been the biggest improvements he's made?
Confidence, definitely. I think starting to take players on, because I'll say I was naive. I've said it a few times, very naive. I'm a pass man. That's how I made my living out the game. I very rarely went, at the start maybe went past players, but you only remember the last years of your career where you can't go past anybody and you've got to pass it. And you watch teams like Man City and you think they just ping and they pass and move and they pass and move and you think that's the way football is. But I've come to understand you've got to be able to move and you've got to be able to beat players. You've got to get... I was a bit unappreciative of how people get out of tight spots. Do you know what I mean? When I never really see that. Now I see it. I see their feet, their quicker feet. I mean, I watched Verratti against PSG against Man City. His feet were electric a couple of times. And that's a virtually holding midfield player. He's like, his feet were like... And we're talking about going past some of the creme de la creme players out of tight spaces. So I've checked, my philosophy's changed. My naivety and my old school has gone out the window. Not a problem to say I got it wrong. I like the way he gets his head up. He makes the right decisions. When I watch the games, when I watch the kids play, when I watch Freddie, I have two wows. I have, wow, that was good. And then I look, and when the game gets easy or sometimes, and then I'm like, wow, why did you do that? Or what? Wow. So I weigh it up. If you've got more wows of doing well than the wow of why would you do that? Or why did you cross that ball when you could have took a touch and taken a player on? Like that's a wow. Why did you do that? But he does a lot of wows the other way. And I look at that in any footballer. But I am, I do watch Freddie. I have to be careful. I have to be very careful. Like, if he makes a mistake, I'm like, oh, but everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah, he's
you
so
know
young.
what I mean? It's like, but
he's so young.
And then I watch players like yesterday, like I see Herrera for PSG against Man City, gets the ball and it rolled under his foot. Now Freddie done that the other day, and he done it twice. But he was. What I liked was when the ball was coming, he was looking what was going on, but he didn't have that to get his head down at the same time to control the ball, it was nice to see. But he's got the one bit, then he's got to go like that and then control it and then go again. But at least he was looking. He gets his head up. He tries to pass. He's got good vision. He gets into space. He's progressing nicely. But it's all about getting into that to 9. If you can keep on doing what you're doing and get to that contract, then you've got a chance.
I've seen him personally. When I've seen him play, I've seen him do some things, and I'm a bit like, I was like, oh, okay, wow. I mean, I remember a tournament, it was at Northwood, and he scored an amazing goal, but the way he took that goal, it was just kind of what you were saying earlier. I guess the practice and the hours he's put in, he's now got the confidence to take that on first time on the half volley. Yeah. So, yeah, I agree with you. He has those wow moments when you're looking, wow, okay.
Yeah, and he has the wow the other way. He has, where you think, wow, why'd you do that? But I
he's figuring it out.
As long as the other wows weigh him up. But in football, it's like, as Sean says, it's trying it. It's trying it. And if it goes wrong, it goes wrong.
And what are the conversations that you guys have, after games?
I'll say, how many out of 10 would you give yourself? To see where, if he starts going, I'll give myself 9 and he's not a 9. And then I will say, I'll say 9. Would you say 8 or 7 there? Do you think you could have done that better? And that was good. Do you know what I mean? I think you got to be careful to keep on saying brilliant, 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 well done, well done. I think because you feed the kids too much, it's like you've got to tell them when it's a way of telling them. I think I'll say, do you think there could have passed the ball there, or you could have taken him on so there's way. We talk on the way home. We talk on the way, and we don't he don't get into a PlayStation. He's sitting. He talks about football, and then he'll say, "Oh, what about when so-and-so done that?" And he sees when he's not involved, and he's watching the game. Like when they're doing 1v1s or 2v2s, and he's not involved, and he's waiting for his turn. He's watching. He's not looking at his feet. He'll come to me after and go, "My God, what about when Jude done that?" And he went past him, and he nutmegged him, and he went. He sees other parts of the game.
So you'd say he takes that information quite well,
majorly. And then, I think that's the one thing. If you tell him something, he'll remember it. He might not do it because it might not develop into making to do, but he'll go to me, an overlap or something like that. He has them things in his brain.
Do you ever fear that there's a danger that you will put pressure on Freddie?
No. Every morning he gets back from every day he gets back from school, wherever he's going, to Arsenal, Chelsea or Fulham, I say, do you want to go? 100. First thing I ever say. If he doesn't want to go, he ain't going. I don't never make him do anything. You can't make it. They have to want to be a footballer. Every parent should ask the kid that before. They should say, do you want to go? And if they don't go, they should have enough in them to say, okay, don't go. Don't make a kid go and do something they don't want to do, because it won't work. I'm a recovering alcoholic, recovering compulsive gambler, drug addict. I've tried to stop for years for everybody else, for wives, for girlfriends, for my kids and all that. I this time round, and this is the longest I've been, I stopped for me, and then it works. Do you know what I mean? When you start doing it for other people, you don't. It just doesn't work. Most important, I think every parent should say the same thing to every kid.
Do you notice other parents on the circuit putting pressure on their kids? Or can you see how it happens?
Oh, of course it could happen. I think at the moment, it's a bit. I think the kids at the moment. I look at the kids. I watch them in training, and I like what I see. I don't see that pressure. Oh my God, I don't see it, which is nice. I don't.
This is at the under 7 stage.
This is under 7s. I mean, I don't really know the story. What does it get to? Under 9, they get signed up for their club, or under 8? Is it the year after?
Offers at under 8,
and then the following. I played a lot of football when I was a kid. I loved playing. That's all I'd done.
Yeah.
I got a thing called Oscar Slagus on my knee.
Yeah.
Which I see a lot of kids play football now, and I was fortunate. I was talking to my mum the other day about it. She said, "You just completely rested. You rested." So maybe I could see some people trying to play through that. I think it's important. I understand the philosophy at Chelsea more so than the other clubs with the 2 years. I think Chelsea, when they get to, is it 9 or 8 or 9? Call me wrong. 9 when they get 2 years, and the other clubs get 1.
No. Generally, it's common that clubs who sign a player at under 9, they'll give them 2 years.
Oh, okay.
The FA, the Premier League, will have a rule where at the end of the year, if the club wanted to, they could release that player, and there'll be certain clubs that say, "Oh, we guarantee you a 2-year contract." That's not true. It's the club, if they want to, they can get out of that contract after a year, but the sort
of
general...
the player get out of that?
No. Well, the player can get out of it, but they can't go and sign for another academy. So they can go and play grassroots football.
That's wrong.
Yeah, it's...
I mean, the thing I like about, I think 2 years, I think kids' form will change.
Yeah,
it will change. I mean, you got growth spurts. You got all that kind of stuff. And I think over a 2 year span, you've got more of a chance. I think these kids to keep on performing week in, week out like they do.
It's tough.
I think I'm in the thing of, I'm with Freddie's situation. I say to you all the time, I personally relying on the vision of coaches, the vision of Freddie's not the best player out of everybody, out of all the kids in London. He's not. I'm not naive to say that. He's a good footballer. I rely on vision of coaches. Do you know what I mean? To go, I see something. I see something. That's what I think with all the kids. They're going to get better and better.
Just to come back to the point you made where you identified that on the game on Sunday, Freddie a couple of times let the ball go under his leg because he was looking up thinking about the next pass, and you identified it, and then you guys had a conversation about it. And there's a lot that you're doing where literally you'll see everything, and you're seeing a lot even that I don't see as an experienced coach. So again, another advantage against like other parents where they're not seeing this stuff, but that's probably helping him with this contributions. So like, do you have to be careful though that doesn't turn into pressure? Because let's say that you're identifying every little thing that he starts doing wrong, and you're having a conversation about it. Does he start getting a complex?
I wouldn't say everything. I wouldn't stop anything. I wouldn't stop everything.
Right.
I mean, no, I wouldn't. Kate's like, just say well done, and I will. I always say well done. I mean, just to get out on a football pitch and play at the standard he's playing, well done.
Yeah.
This is a good standard. He's playing with good kids. Do you know what I mean? You got to be able to hold yourself. You get found out if you can't play, in my opinion. No, things like that you have to nip in the bud.
Yeah.
If the ball's rolling under your foot, you got to nip. If you go to the last 30 at Chelsea and you do that 4 times, you're relying on that coach seeing what you didn't see that I see.
Yeah.
So that's a problem. So for me, I think something like that, if it's rolling out, I pulled young Reese up the other week about something that you didn't agree with, and we still don't agree on it. But I personally think, I don't like this. I don't like this control with the bottom of your foot. I think it's good in futsal. I think it's good in that. I think you got trainers on. It's a bit different. I just thought. Could I just tell you? Can we say the
Go on,
story?
Yeah.
We're playing a game. There's a young kid called Reese, a good footballer, good player, very good.
Yeah.
The ball kept on coming out wide to him, and he was going like that with his foot, and it was going on. It went under his foot 3 times. Now, this kid's electric. I mean, I don't think there's too many kids that are quicker than him at under 7 about. I'd have him in a race against anybody. Now, if I'm a defender, I want him to do that.
Wait, because obviously some people are listening, so you might describe what you're doing.
Is he stopping?
Right, he's controlling the ball with his studs.
The sole of his foot.
The sole of his foot. So the ball's coming, his sole of his foot on the wing. Now, this kid's electric. Now, you watch Mason Mount. Mason Mount is the best player in the country by a country mile on taking the ball forward. His first touch is always forward. You watch Mason Mount play football, his touch is bang and he goes forward. He doesn't go stop, look, whack, let's play safe football. He goes forward. That commits people. Now, if I'm a defender against Reese and he stops it with the sole of his foot, I'm a defender. I will go and get set. He can't beat me then. He can't beat me unless he does something unbelievably special. If he takes the ball forward at pace. I played against Maldini, who was the best defender I ever played against. But if he give me a 10-yard run to run at him at pace, by the time I got that pace, I wouldn't have to do a trick. I just got to drop a shoulder. Don't stop the ball. 100 out of 99 out of 100 times, a player will control it with the side of their foot. They will, because they've got to get it forward. Plus, and that's all I said. And then, like Sean, I'm watching Sky Sports. I'm on Soccer Saturday. Sean's at a game and he's texting me going, "Look, Soundsay just put their foot on the ball." Put their foot on the ball.
Coming from a futsal background, I understand what you're saying. My argument would be it was wrong by him. I don't think there's a problem using the sole, but he used it in the wrong way, because you can still use the sole and keep the ball moving. Yeah. So where he's stopped it, then I agree. Because in futsal, you're using the sole.
Myself now to push it forward. Yeah, but that's a good skill.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
a hard skill.
So where he stopped it, that's the error.
PSG Man City last night, it was happening quite frequently. There was quite a few players rolling it forward with the sole. Like De Bruyne did one cross where as it came back to him from Walker, he rolled it forward and then stepped onto it and crossed it.
But it's a hard skill. But you're talking. But we're trying to produce. But that's
what we're trying to produce. We're trying to produce Champions League, World Cup players. Like what I text you, because this was this debate that we kind of had afterwards, which was very healthy, by the way. But like what I challenged you on was, because I think what you said to Reece was, you only take it with the sole of your foot when you've got a defender on your back, and you gave that example, and I said that was a hard and fast rule that I didn't agree with, because I said we've got to be careful with saying those type of rules, because that will set in stone in that kid's head, and then forever they'll think that that's the only time they can use their soul, when there actually are other times. And it's the same way with like what coaches might say sometimes, where they say never pass across your goal, and then they set that in the kids' minds, but actually there are occasions where you would definitely spray across your goal, and top teams would do it.
But that's a picture.
Okay.
So if someone says to you, don't play the ball across the pitch, and then they never do it again, they're not seeing the picture. There's times to play the ball across the pitch, and there's times not to. It was like, if you watch Lukaku play, Lukaku gets his body in front and he will control it with the sole of, that's the furthest part away from his body. And so if I'm grabbing, if I've got the centre half, If I control it with the sole of my foot, he cannot get it, because he's so far away. Like if I tried to control it with my side of my foot, I would literally he could get around me. I was just trying to put pictures in his head. No, now if Reece turns around and never does that, then Reece has a problem. Do you know what I mean? I'm just giving ideas.
At 6 years old, the language that coaches use is so important. I hear other coaches as well saying, when you get the ball, always throw down the line. And then another coach later on in an academy is then having to undo a habit that a grassroots coach has put in, where they've said, always throw down the line. You're like, well, hang on, we sometimes need to go back, or we sometimes need to go down the middle.
I mean, there's no. I just try and give like experiences. I mean, it's just trying to give kids pictures. Do you know what I mean? That's all it is. I mean, if I'm Reece, he's electric, so I want that ball out of my feet and I want to go. I want to go. Soon as I stopped him the other week, and I keep on giving. He trained with us a couple of months ago, and we was doing 1v1, and he stopped the ball and he turned around and started backing into the player. So I just stopped. When you're blessed with pace, make the most of it. I hate seeing players who, like, if someone said to you now, Cole Walker's quick, you go, he is lightning quick. But if I told you Havertz was quick, you go, oh, is he? Is he that quick? He's electric. There's ways that Michael Owen was the best in the business. Michael Owen got the ball, knocked it past and went. Like I say to wingers, I say to people, any time I'm playing football, a winger, I always say to a winger, get the ball, knock it past the fullback and go. If he beats you to the ball and rolls it back to the keeper, don't do it again. He's quicker than you. Then you have to start dropping off and changing. But why would you change if you know you're quicker than him? But you've got to find that out quickly. For me, we'll go to this 3v3 tournament, and everybody will get the ball and they'll do skills and they'll jump over the ball and they'll do skill and they'll beat. But no one will just knock the ball past someone and run and go, right, I'm quicker than you, I'm just going to do that. And if they're not quicker than them, then don't do it. But you watch, no one will do it. No one will just get the ball, knock it past the player and just sprint as quick as they can and get the other end. But why?
But okay, you answer them.
No, carry on.
Okay. Well, sometimes that's actually a good thing that they're not doing that, because you might have a very big kid who's only got that in their locker to knock it past a player and run.
I really, really like that. But my question would be, what advice would you give to parents who kids want to be aspiring footballers?
Let them be. Let them be. It's not you. It's not you. It's the kid. I see too many people living a dream through, and this is not now, I'm talking over the last 20, 30 years, you've seen it. You've seen kids, dads and mums and uncles and granddads on the line shouting at a kid, telling him what to do. The one compliment I was given when my older boys were growing up, I used to go and watch them on Sunday mornings playing, and everybody used to say, you don't say anything, you don't shout. Why are you not telling them what to do? Because they're playing football. It's their game, not mine. It's their game. So just leave them. Do you know what I mean? And they're going, yeah, but you play. Why don't you tell them? It's not my game. When I play, they don't tell me what to do. You know, when I go and play football, when I was playing for Arsenal or whoever it was, they weren't shouting, telling me what to do. So you got to let them be. Let them be. And as I said, it's the hardest thing in the world is to become a professional footballer. The hardest. It's harder, and as I said, it's harder than being a brain surgeon. It is. Everybody wants to be a footballer.
Like, let them be, but also you've got to drive them to 5 academies a week or 5 places.
Yeah, but that's your job. That's your job's driving into the academy.
Okay.
You know, when I'm driving Freddie to the academies, he ain't telling me how to drive.
Yeah.
He sits there and we talk about football. He doesn't tell me how to drive to the academy, and then when I get there, I tell him what to do. You know, the job of the coaches, that's their job. It's not my job. I watch. Then if I see something in it, then I'll tell him. You know, I'm always forever telling parents. You know, I'll be saying to Cole, you know, or Jules Jew's dad, or Cole Reggie's dad, or Rob Reese's dad. I'll be forever just telling them little things. You know, yeah. I'll see it in training and I'll be like, next time, just tell him, like, you know, Reese was doing a 3v1 the other week. We were doing 3v1. It was Lewis, Jude and Freddie on the outside. Reese didn't get it for like 2 minutes. For the whole time. They were just popping it. By the time he run there, they just popped it off. And if you get good players, that's what they do. And I just said to him, next time, just tell him, just cut one of them players out and get them playing it that way, and then just keep on edging, and then you'll nick the ball. And he went, and then Freddie went in and he nicked the ball 10 times in 1 minute by cutting one player out and playing 2v1 and then just getting closer and closer. Next minute you're in. And it's just putting things into people's head. Now, I told Freddie that ages ago.
Yeah.
He does it, you know, and I'm forever trying to help, because you got to remember, the parents never played football.
I was going to say this, exactly. So you're in a position where you can give expert advice, whereas like other parents, if they've got to be honest with themselves and say, I'm not an expert football coach and I need to just stay quiet. I need to just be the driver and the cheerleader, because otherwise I'm actually going to potentially give my child worse habits than when they had before I interfered.
Yeah, I mean, the worst thing is when Freddie first started playing football, he had a bad habit, yeah. And that was he kept on looking over.
Oh yeah,
he kept on looking over, and then in the end, I said, don't keep on looking at me. You just play. Don't worry. He doesn't do that now. That's out. He doesn't come and look over when he does something. He just gets on with his game. But that's not a good habit.
Yeah,
that's not a good habit. That's a no. If a kid keeps on looking over, the parents should say, don't do that, because he's trying to justify him. But the parents, you know, for me, it's hard. Of course, they want to live the dream. You know, you got to remember, some of these kids their parents have nothing. They have nothing. This is a way out. This is a lie. This is, you know, for their kid to be a professional footballer. But at the end of the day, that all comes. You know, when I play, the problem is we have with kids now, and you want to sit the kids down is be a footballer. Don't worry about having 4 bathrooms and 3 toilets. Just be a footballer. When I play football, when I was watching football, I swear, when I used to watch Match of the Day with my dad on the settee, I did not know they got paid to play football. I did not know they got paid to play football. Be a footballer. Be a footballer, and it will. You know, if you become a footballer, you have the best job ever in history. If you, it don't matter what league you play in, if it's the Premier League or the Championship, if you're getting paid to play football and you're not paying to play football, you have an unbelievable job, an unbelievable job, and that is like priceless. You're getting up every morning to train. You're getting paid to keep fit, be in the fresh air, and live a dream. For me, it's priceless.
What's your dream for Freddie?
To be his dream. My dream for him is whatever his dream, what he wants to be. Do you know what I mean? He might wake up. Sure, he might. You know, God forbid, but he might have my addictions. I don't know. He might be an addictive kid. I don't know. You know, I've broke that cycle, so he ain't got to live with that for the next 12, 15 years. So hopefully that doesn't happen. But he's still got on me so many things. In, you know, moves into high school. You know, kids. You know, that are bad influences. You know, you got to pick the right apples and the wrong apples. You know, that's hard. That's not easy. You know, and then the girls come along. You know, and then other things come along. This is a hard thing to do. I sacrificed everything. Like, I never went out on Fridays with my mates. I never went to Ibiza or Marbella with my mates. I'd never been on a trip with my mates ever, because I wanted to be a footballer, and they're the things I had to do. There was a lad round my way, you know, Mark Hobson, his name was. Mark, don't mind me saying, phenomenal footballer. I played at Brentford. He was like going to be the best player, but he didn't have, like, he'll be the first to say he didn't have he didn't have that attitude that I had. You know, that you have to sacrifice so much, like your mum and dad sacrifice so much now to get you to these places. When you get to a certain age, you have to sacrifice from now. It's like, you know, Freddie's, you know, these are his mates. You know, Reggie and Jude are his best mates. They're his best mates. That's it. Football has this thing of bringing friends together. You know, Freddie's changed over the last 8 months like you couldn't catch a dream. I mean, who wouldn't want their kid to play football? Of course, but I know it is hard. Yeah, and I mean hard. If you, as I say, you become a footballer, you've had the biggest result of your life. Yeah. The biggest result of your life, and I think. I mean, it's hard now, and it gets harder, and it gets harder, and it gets harder. And then you got to remember it's all right now, because these are all kids from London or all kids from a certain area. And then you get to 15, 16, and then it's more kids, and then you want to get into the first team, and then it's like 50% of the players are from abroad. So it's not just playing against the teams in this country, players in this country. You know, it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
You said that you suffer with addictions, and how has being involved with Freddie's football helped you?
I would say immensely. I love Sundays. I love going to watch the training, not only because it's like learning and watching the other kids as well. I'm not like tunnel vision just watching Freddie. I watch the other kids, like that. Some of the stuff they do is just amazing. So that's good. I have to be careful. I don't want to swap addictions and get addicted to Freddie's football. I'm very aware of that. Really? Very aware of that. So it's not like, oh, Freddie's, you know, bang, bang, bang. I've got 2 other little kids, you know, and one's very good at gymnastics. So it's very, you don't want to, I'm aware of that, so, which is good. I'm aware of that. So sometimes if I do get a bit, I bring myself back down again, you know. Like if Freddie don't do well one day at training, you know, before I was like, oh no, you know, you know, that's going to dent him, like, you know, but now I don't. So yeah, I love doing Sundays. I love doing it because it is something I enjoy doing. So it's nice. They're like, you got to have the, you know, my buzzes were different, were buzzes that nearly cost me my life in drinking and gambling and drugs. You know, my buzzes now, you know, Sunday morning football with the kids, like little things like that, which before, if I'm being honest, I had no interest in, you know, it become very selfish. So yeah, I'm aware that I need to sit back, and that's what I do. And Kate's good, because Kate could see it, but over the last 6 or 7 months, I like his progress. I like, this is a marathon.
Yeah.
I think it's a marathon. It's not a sprint, but at the same time, I call it a train journey. And every year you got to make sure you're still on that train and you're not getting off. And it's a bit like getting to the FA Cup final. You know, you're on that train. You make sure you get through the third round. You get through the fourth. Make sure you have to get off that train, and then you end up getting to the final. And I think that's the same journey with these kids. Is, you know, it's a marathon, but at the same time it is a sort of a sprint, because you don't think you can be good at 14 years of age and not now, but you just got to keep on staying on that train. And every year that goes by, you're going to become a better player, 100%. With the coaches about now at academy football, you're only going to become better. You're never going to become worse a player.
Final question. Who would you prefer Freddie to have his first team debut with, if you had the choice, Chelsea or Arsenal?
See, I thought you two were nice. You know what, Freddie's a massive Chelsea fan. He's a big Chelsea fan. He loves going to games, and he has his kit and he watches them all the time. You know what? If he played for any of them clubs, he's had the biggest touch ever in the history of football. You know, they're the two creme de la creme teams in London, and Tottenham. I'm not going to. Tottenham's a great club as well. I think if you played for one of them three clubs in your footballing career, there's making it and there's making it.
Yeah.
And that would be making it at the highest level.
Yeah.
But no one ever makes it from not having hard work.
Yeah.
Hard work's the most important thing. Hard work and listen. And then the other stuff, these kids now, they get the training, they get the facilities to go on and do everything else. But if you don't work hard and listen, it don't matter about all the skills and all the vision and all that. You won't make it. You know, I played against the best AC Milan team of all time. I watched Man City play Chelsea the other week. Hard work. You know, when you get talented footballers that work hard, you got a chance.
One last question from me. What are your opinions on parents who use social media on behalf of their kids?
I don't know where they get the time. I wouldn't do it. I don't know if it's a way of the kids staying in touch with kids, what they call them, ballers at like Man City and Man United and all over the country. I don't know. I don't see a need. I don't know if the clubs tell them to do it. I don't know. I might be wrong, but I don't see a need. I played football with Sean the other week, and I'm 53. And if I'd have put a reel together of when I played in that game, I think someone would have took a chance on me. Do you know what I mean? You know, everything on there is good.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you got to put on there. I don't mind if they put on there, you know, today I wasn't very good at this and I need to work on that. You know, it seems to me it's always the good. It's not always good, you know, and I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, to your point there, the academies prefer the players don't have it and the parents don't, because they find it's a bit of a headache. But they've had to accept, in the modern world, it happens, and they have become a bit more accepting of it. But I think definitely clubs don't encourage it.
I'm not. Freddie's asked me a couple of times.
Oh, has he?
Well, he just said, well, some of the players have got on that he knows, and I'm like, no, you don't need to. You be a footballer, you know, work hard. You keep on improving. You know, don't worry. You know, you don't have to tell everybody. You know, I find it, you know, sometimes I start to worry if people get things out of doing it as well. Do you know what I mean? I don't like it. You know, I come off Instagram, you know, I don't go on it as much now. you know, because I don't like the abuse, but you get addicted to it. You get addicted to it. You know, I found myself getting up in the morning and going on Instagram, looking at something that I'm not even fussed about, but I looked at it. Now these kids can get, you know, used to, and then it's no good keep on watching these Instagram and watching a kid that's unbelievably brilliant now. That just kills the kid's confidence, because you don't have to be as good as him now. You know, the name of the game, as I said, keep on that train, and when you get to 16, you get an apprenticeship or a scholarship, whatever it's called. You got a chance, but you put the concrete down first, and then you start building, and hopefully it gets to a stage when you can put a roof on it and get a scholarship, and then if you walk out and play, and as I say, if you walk out and play football as you're living, you've got the best job in the world.
Well, Paul, thank you so much for your time. And yeah, we'll keep working with Freddie and keep following his progress. Nice one.
Thank you.